And we want to talk to you today all about what makes anime food so gosh dang sexy. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody should know this. I think it has the same precedence and same importance as actual fan service. Do you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. When you see food in anime, it's like I'm pretty sure I've read academic studies about types of fan service that exist, and like food is one of them. This was back in my academic days when I was really interested in food and anime and all that kind of thing. It's like a proven scientific fact that it can just, really turn people on.
I think it has a lot to do with just you have to make it so visually appealing because you can't actually eat it. So that's kind of right. So like when I watch, I guess we'll just get right into it, right? We'll talk about like anime fan service in this case. There's actually a really great video that I recently watched. I can't remember the creator's name. He was a smaller creator. He had this video all about fan service. Mm-hmm. And it was like legitimately about the effects of fan service on anime. And it was all about how most fan service came about because of like shonen, and it caters to younger boys and this and that and the other thing. And he brought up stuff like Kill la Kill, and he brought up stuff like Food Wars, which is going to be a big topic, I think, for this conversation. But then he brought up stuff like Fire Force, where the fan service doesn't make sense. Yeah. But in this case, I think that when you have food in anime, they have to make that whole thing look good, because there was this incident, I don't know what anime it was from, where like the cabbage looked like a square or something. It was some anime. So if anybody is listening to this and you can comment or whatever down below, let us know. I don't remember which one it was from, but I think ever since that point, they're like, no, we have to go all in, because you have places like, or studios like Studio Ghibli, right, who do these insane like scenes. So good. But we look at that stuff and we think, that looks amazing, but as people who eat out often, or who have been in kitchens or whatever, like we can kind of know what that tastes like in a way. Yeah. Right? Does that kind of make sense? Yeah, there's like an experience to it in a way that like an upskirt shot is like very like cheap, right? But when you see, for example, freshly washed cherry tomatoes with a little bit of like dew glistening on them, being struck by the morning light, it is something that is super evocative of a time and a place and a feeling, and you can almost feel that cherry tomato in your mouth bursting, and sort of like the sunshiny acid flavors enliven your body, and you feel like a new person. This is getting very Food Wars all of a sudden. Yeah, you're just having a Food Wars moment after a cherry tomato, but I get it, right? Like the tomatoes are good in Japan, okay? I'm kind of jealous because like I live in the Northwest, and we do get good produce and stuff, but like my neighbor, she has an awesome herb garden, and she always invites me over. And one day she had a bunch of cherry tomatoes. She needed to get rid of them because they were just too many. Yeah. And I was like, okay, let me go get a container. She's like, no. She like made me hold out my shirt, right? And she just kept dumping tomatoes in it. And I ate those things because like just raw, because they tasted like candy. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So like straight up sweet, delicious, like super juicy. But when you see it in an anime, you can't experience the taste of it. Yeah. So you have to make it look so appealing, right, that it becomes fan service. Yeah. And I think that's what we should call it. Anime food is fan service. Yeah. No, and it truly, truly is. And I think about that too, of like what makes food so good looking to us, because it's not just like, I'm thinking about Your Name, and you've seen Your Name, right? And there's this scene where she is in his body, and she is in Tokyo eating a stack of pancakes, and she's like, or like waffles or something. She's taking a picture of them, and like pancakes are objectively good. Well, actually, I don't think so personally. I do like pancakes. I will admit, I care for waffles more. Yes. Right. Okay. Oh my God. So we're on that, right? Finally, someone who agrees with me. Everyone thinks I'm a psycho because I don't love pancakes, but waffles are objectively I would have
better.
a plate of waffles over pancakes, but I do agree. Pancakes are great.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, so she's taking this picture of pancakes, and there's something about it that's just so visually appealing, and I think it's like a little bit of the atmosphere, like where they are in the middle of the city in this amazing restaurant, you having this like incredible kind of like fine dining pancake experience. But there's also something of just the way that they draw it that really like brings life to the food in a way that doesn't always exist in real life. Like I feel like this is the constant struggle of home chefs. They can make food, but making it look good is a whole different thing. It's a different
It's a
ball
whole
game.
different level. Yeah. But also in that same regard, is it that important for a home chef to make it look that good? Right? Like unless you're really like trying to do a dinner party or something, for me, food goes into a bowl and I eat it. Right? Like that's just how I eat at home most of the time. I don't need it to look good. I need it to function. Right?
I think yes and no. Yes and no. As someone who has really struggled with making food, okay, this is kind of crazy considering that I cook a lot, but I don't cook for myself. I don't make single meals for myself, or I didn't usually in the past. And I think it was because it was not only more convenient to just order on Uber Eats, but when the food would come, it would just look nice and it looks good and tempting and you want to dig into it. Versus when I make something at home, like it doesn't have the same je ne sais quoi. You know what I'm saying?
No,
and
totally.
And
it's that, yeah, you eat with your eyes first.
Yeah, and recently I have started to force myself to cook at home more often because I need to get in the habit. And I found that adding those little touches, like a little bit of green onion on top or a little bit of sesame seed or like whatever, really makes a difference. And it makes me appreciate the food that I'm eating more. And it makes me have like more pride in what I'm cooking and how I'm consuming it. So I kind of like appearance, I think it does make even like a little bit of a difference, even if you're doing it at home.
I 100% agree, but like for me, food in a lot of ways has become utility for when I feed myself, which is really sad to say because I'm like, nope, I want to get some chicken. I want to go get a bagel, put some cream cheese on it. Like I'm good. Right. That's literally, that was breakfast this morning. It was a bagel with cream cheese and like a seared chicken breast. Cause I was like, I don't care. I just need some food. But if I'm making food for someone, I'm not going to give them a cinnamon bagel with cream cheese and a chicken breast for breakfast, right? Like
you wouldn't serve that to someone?
No, I wouldn't serve that to anyone. I eat that for myself. You know, I'll enjoy it in the closet where no one can watch. But
see your shame in action.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like don't touch it. You don't want any part of this. But I think what's interesting about seeing it like animated is you're only eating with your eyes, right? And that's just because that's what it is. So like you said, like Your Name, right? With like the pancake scene, in that same, I think it was it Weathering with You that had the potato chip fried rice? I think it was, but it's the same, it's the same studio.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Like that whole, like them cracking the egg and to where like the egg looks like it was like christened by God, the way it like came out of the shell.
Oh, I remember you posting about this. And you're right. You're right.
I made it because it looked so visually appealing.
Yeah.
And it was delicious. I loved it. Potato chip fried rice is fantastic. And I think everyone should make fried rice and throw like salt and vinegar chips into it and just like change the game, right?
Make
like open
crunchy.
up a restaurant or make it a food cart, you know, chips in your fried
fun.
rice,
Yeah.
get Uncle Roger all aggro. But it's like with that to me keeps something that should be mundane, like within an anime, like a scene that should be mundane of just like eating dinner into this like beautifully animated thing. Because I mean, I see it as if you saw that scene, would it have been as impactful if it were just like a cardboard looking cutout of some food? Probably not. Right. I think that's kind of the why like anime food is fan service.